Hello everyone, my name is Peter Bringe, pastor at Covenant Family Church. This month, the month of December, I'm going through some familiar Christmas carols to take a minute to look at what we are singing as we sing some of these familiar carols. Last week, in last video, we looked at God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, and today I want to look at Isaac Watts' hymn, Joy to the World. The words come from Isaac Watts' book called The Psalms of David, imitated in the language of the New Testament. This came out in 1719, although the familiar song that we associate with it came almost 100 years later. But as you can tell from the title of that book, it was not in a collection of Christmas carols, it was in a collection of paraphrases of the Psalms, interpreting it in the light of the New Testament, bringing in other terms and kind of preaching on the Psalms, if you will, in the hymns themselves. And Joy to the World was his version of Psalm 98. And if you look at Psalm 98, it starts out about how God has done mighty things and he has shown his salvation in sight of all the people, certainly something that was done with the coming of the Messiah. And indeed, Isaac Watts originally named this the Messiah's coming and kingdom, because not only does it talk about his salvation, but also the coming of God to his earth and establishing his reign in righteousness, and the fact that all creation, all the earth and its inhabitants, the seas, the rocks, the floods, all ought to respond with joy to the coming of their God. Certainly something that can be seen in Joy to the World as well. He also brings in ideas that you can get from Genesis 3 about the curse as well as God's promise of redemption, or of Romans 8, all creation yearning and groaning in expectation for the full redemption that shall come at Christ's second coming, but especially with the focus on the fact that Jesus came to restore his creation, to reverse the spread of sin and sorrow through his saving grace. And so in Joy to the World, verses 1 and 2, exhort all the earth to receive the King of the earth in the person of Jesus Christ, God come to his creation, its Lord and Savior, with joy and thanks and rejoicing. And in verses 3 through 4 of this carol, it explains why this ought to provoke joy, that he comes to reverse the curse, to make his blessings flow far as the curse is found. No more should sins and sorrows, the result of man's rebellion, spread, but rather a remedy has been found in Jesus Christ. And that he rules the world with truth and grace, and through his truth and through his grace, he makes the nations prove, that is, he makes the nations show through God's work in them Christ's righteousness and his love, the wonders of his love as they are converted, as they come to saving faith, as Christ rules in their hearts as well as in their actions, and as the renewed kingdom of Christ spreads throughout the world, so that all creation indeed ought to rejoice that its Creator has now come to save it and to establish his kingdom. And so may we all rejoice as we remember the coming of Christ as the infant born in Bethlehem to begin this great work, a work that continues today as he works through his truth and through his grace among all the nations as we look to the fulfillment of this work in the age to come.